Hey everybody, welcome to the first YouTube video that I'm doing here for Oath of Gatewatch drafting. I hope you guys enjoy this. We're just going to get going right away and I'll be right back when we're drafting. Well, it looks like SGDoc joined us here for the draft. So we're just starting our first pick here. That's kind of funny for our first Oath of Gatewatch. We have another streamer in here. It looks like we've got some interesting choices here. This is going to be only the third Oath of Gatewatch draft that I've done. The other two being at GP Vancouver, actually, which I just got home from tonight. I'm doing this draft at about 12 o'clock in the morning, just trying to hurry it up and keep to the schedule that I set for myself. So we'll have this up on Wednesday, so it'll be interesting. Not sure. I know a lot of people have talked about how great Black-White Allies is, but Eiley seems good, but not amazing. And I mean, it is two colors. Isolation Zone, however, seems excellent. We do also have, you know, Dwar Isle Avenger is pretty decent. Tar Snare is okay. We'll have to just see. I think we're going to go with Isolation Zone, though. Like, just staking a very good removal spell seems like a great way to start out here. And I'd rather be in one color than going into a bunch of different ones. So I got a couple of cats on here that might be having some issues. Oh, well, that looks wonderful. Good job, Magic Online. We do have Cliffhaven Vampire, which could be part of a white-black ally deck that we were talking about. I mean, there's Kozilek Shrieker, McKindy Aeronaut. There's really nothing like too interesting in white. I think we're just going to take the Cliffhaven. It is a decent enough card. I mean, a 2/4 flyer is fine, even if it has no other text. There's really nothing else here that's that interesting either. Like, Hedron Crawler is maybe the next closest, that or McKindy Aeronaut, and neither of those are super interesting at all. So Cliffhaven seems fine. I'd be interested to try and do a white-black ally list. I never came across it inside of the GP, so in any of the drafts that I've done, I haven't seen it yet. I ended up being blue-black devoid and being a red-white list, so that was a little bit different, but... Alright, we have some good white cards here. We have an Isolation Zone, and we have a Step Glider. I was really impressed with Step Glider in one of my decks, so I'm quite interested in taking it. It's been fantastic. With the support mechanic, giving something else like flying and vigilance is nothing to scoff at, especially if it's pretty large. You can just keep flying over and kill your opponent in very, very short time. That being said, I don't know that it's better than just straight removal. I mean, this is a really strong removal spell, just kills anything. I think that we're just going to have to take the Isolation Zone. That almost seems wrong just because I found this card to be really strong, but you know, a really solid removal spell in sets where there's not a lot of removal anymore seems like where I want to be. So I'll take the Isolation Zone here. There's a third one. Wow. I mean, eventually we're going to run out of like the need for removal, and a lot of 4-drops right now, but Scythe Master is just mediocre at best. Pathfinder's quite strong. It is a good late game. You need a couple of like holdout settlement type cards, something that makes wastes. You know, Channeler later on, like Kozilek's Channeler or Hedron Archive, something like that to make it really pack some oomph. But I think 6 mana 5/5 is certainly nothing to scoff at, anyways. I think that we'll just grab the Isolation Zone here, though. I'm hoping to get some more creatures, though, and there's one that I definitely want. Core Sky Climber is quite decent. I do wish that I'd taken the Step Glider now instead of the one Isolation Zone, but at the time I don't know that that was a bad choice. It just ended up, in retrospect, being a little bit worse considering we got 3 Isolation Zones on our first 4 picks here, which is a lot of removal. I mean, having removal is great, having good removal is better, and these are all very good removal spells. But eventually you do need some threats to actually kill your opponent. So hopefully we can get some now. Alright, second Sky Climber is fantastic. I've found myself really impressed with Searing Light. Just how cheap it is, and there's actually an incredible number of 2-power creatures that are really important in the format. A lot of flyers and stuff, things like Cliffhaven Vampire and Thought Scourer, the 2/4 flyer with Devoid and Blue, things like that are really good. There's Sky Scourer and Thought Scourer, a bunch of different cards like that it's really good against. So Mind Melter is another one, the blue-black unblockable creature. And I've been really impressed with it. I didn't think I would be, but it's been quite good. That being said, I've got a lot of removal already, and Core Sky Climber's a decent enough threat that I think that I just need to take that. Here we have Scythe Master, Weapon Trainer, so I mean I could just go white-red. I don't have to be white-black for sure. I mean I have one black card right now. I don't know. I don't think that Weapons Trainer is really where I want to be, considering all these isolation zones. This is more of an aggro deck. I could be entirely wrong, though. I mean, I could just end up being an aggro deck and run through isolation zones. That's certainly possible. Scythe Master is fine. Like, certainly not great. I think I might just take the Weapons Trainer here. I think it's enough better than the Scythe Master. It's worth a little bit of a gamble on anyways. Goblin Freerunner has been quite good. The times that it's great, though, is when you actually play the Surge cost. Playing it for 4, it's a little underwhelming. Playing it for 2, it's awesome. So it really depends on what other things you have that can actually trigger the Surge and how aggressive your deck is. So I think that I'll just take the Scythe Master here. I'm for sure white. I don't know that I'm red. This card really requires a bit of building around, and so I think it's better to take the Scythe Master. Like, the 3 isolation zones that we have and the Core Sky Climbers don't go well with the Free Runner yet. I'd need something a lot cheaper to make it worthwhile. Dazzling Reflection's been a pretty good trick here for me, actually. Like, normally I've found that quite often you save your guy, kill theirs, and gain life. Not all the time, but when you're in trade situations, it's quite awesome. I've done that more than once at the drafts and seals that I've done, so I've been quite impressed with Dazzling and Reflection. So I'm going to take one here for sure. Spark Mage's Gambit could be okay. It does kill a lot of, the little 1 toughness guys. There are some 2/1 flyers and things that run around in the format. Sky Spawners and whatnot. So I might as well grab one of those, I think. Relentless Hunter is certainly not getting played. And the Untamed Hunger is not very good either. Pathwarden Wield. Wow. Alright, I mean, again, right now I'm just white. I don't know if I'm red or if I'm black. I could certainly go green. This is a great card. I have 5/4 for 5 with Vigilance and Trample is nothing to scoff at. Green's a little bit weak because, of course, BFZ green's not great, but I think that it gains a lot in Oath of Gatewatch, so it's certainly not unplayable by any means. Things like Nissa's Judgment and Pathwarden are really good reasons to be in green. Pulse and Morass is not terrible either, so I'll just grab that here. There's Zulaport Chain Mage, so if I want to go back into black-white allies, I can go that way. Bonds of Mortality is not really a playable card, but I'll just grab it anyways. No reason to grab the land. So yeah, we're kind of split. We know we're white. That's set in stone. We just don't know whether we're going to go green or black or red, which is actually a pretty good spot to be in. I like being here right now because it means that if we open something really awesome in this pack or get past something really strong, then we can just switch whatever colors that we need to get there. So here we have Wall of Resurgence, Spawnbinder Mage, which I've been really impressed with in the sealed. I don't know how good it is in the draft. In the sealeds that I've played, this card was really, really strong. But that was a lot grindier than the actual draft games that I've played. Wall of Resurgence is quite decent, though. I mean, it does make 3/9 worth of power and toughness for just 3 mana. On 3, you don't always want to be activating it for your lands because you do set yourself up to get your lands killed early, which can be a problem. But I mean, it is still just a really good blocker. We found Fortified Rampart to be quite good back when it was just BFZ, and it's nothing terrible now either. I mean, it just blocks a lot of things in the format, like Path Wardens and stuff like that. I think I'm going to take the wall here. It isn't uncommon. I'm going to take a bit of a risk on it. I'm not 100% certain that this is amazing yet or not. Like, there's the problem of your land getting activated. It is an advantage, but it can certainly be a disadvantage very quickly if your opponent has any removal for it. Eldrazi Displacer is super awesome. I don't have any way to make mana for it yet, which is certainly a problem. I could have grabbed some like Unknown Shores or Holdout Settlements from the last pack, which is why you should maybe prioritize them a bit, because this card is really, really good. You can make it so their creatures aren't attacking, because it's not your creatures that you can exile. You can exile anything. So you can just tap their creatures down before they're attacking, or when they're attacking. You can, you know, block and then bounce your guys. You can get extra come into play abilities. It's just got a lot of play to it. It's really, really good. Kills tokens. Just tons of really good things. It's certainly the pick here. I'll try and see if I can't pick up like an Unknown Shores. I'd love for this one to wheel, but we'll just have to see what happens. I'm really hoping that I get enough things to play it. We have Wastes here, so I could just grab that. I might even just be mono white, or very, very close. And in that case, a Wastes could certainly be playable. The Aphra Protector is fine. It's just a good blocker. Slaughter Drone is a good 2-drop, but it really needs Wastes to be great too, because you have to activate it for that Death Touch for it to be a good card. Containment Membrane's not terrible, but it's another color that I'm not in yet, so I mean there's no reason to do that. I think that we just grab the Wastes. After picking up the Displacer, I really want to have some way to activate it, because that card's been really good. Vampire Envoy, actually, though. It does work with Cliffhaven Vampire, and it works with Cohort. That being said, I have no other way to trigger Cohort yet. I think it's just the Waste. I'm just going to take the Wastes, and we'll see what else we can get here. Deceiver of Form. Ooh. Now, this is a beating and a half. The problem is that I actually would need to get the colorless mana. I'd need the Wastes mana. I have one, but that's not nearly enough. I could take a bit of a risk and just grab it, or I could take Unknown Shores and try and hedge, or like Translator, because I could be black. I feel like Unknown Shores is a safer bet there. Man, Deceiver of Form is a huge advantage. This card is nasty. Being able to reveal something like Path Warden off the top, make all your creatures Path Wardens, or if you can get like a Ruin Processor, even just on its own as an 8/8 that scries is just really good. I got totally ruined by this in one of my games at the GP, so I think that I'm going to take the Deceiver, and then I'm going to really prioritize things like Holdout Settlement. So we're going to slam that here right now. There isn't Path Warden. I'd love to wheel it. Probably not happening, although Seed Guardian's probably a little better than Path Warden, so it looks like green's not getting played too much. There's 2 good green cards still left in this pack. Maybe we have a chance. I mean, one of them wheeled last time. There was 2 in that pack. There was a foil and a regular one, so that could be one reason. But I mean, if there's a good green card, another good green card, it could happen again. Similar things. Very similar situation. So we'll grab the Holdout Settlement and maybe get that Path Warden back. We've got a Harvester Troll here, which I don't particularly like. 4 mana, 2/3 is just not that great. Scion Summoner's been pretty decent. I think that's a pretty good card here for us. Saddleback Lagak's not bad. Supporting is pretty good. I mean, 5/4 worth of 5/3, sorry, worth of power for 4 is pretty good. We've also got another Wastes. I mean, right now I have, let's just say I'm green. I have 12 cards. I'm going to need some more playables still. Although, really, 12 is about where you need to be by the end of this pack, so I think I can just take a Wastes here. And try and be mostly white, and with just a little bit of colorless and some green to fill out the corners there. We've got a holdout settlement and a sky climber. Sky climber is really good. I would not mind another one. I'd really like some 2-drops, though. I don't need a lot of them, but I think this format's a little bit faster than BFZ from what I've seen. I got run over a little bit by some 2-drop decks. And I'm a bit worried about not having anything that early and just a lot of 3s. I don't want to get too clogged there. We've got the holdout settlement. Not as good as an Unknown Shores, but could be another one of those. Or I could take Sky Climber or Netcaster. I'm going to take a... I think I'll still take Sky Climber. It's a good enough card that I think I want it. Pulse of Marasa, that's fine, I suppose. I don't think I need a Scythe Master. I'm not really interested in any of these. I mean, I have a Pulse of Marasa. It's basically green divination. I'm not going to want to play a lot of green cards if I'm going to be playing Deceiver Form and Displacer. So I think I'll just cut the white. Let's just do that. Afra Protector or Holdout Settlement. Or a Pathfinder. Pathfinder is looking better with more wastes. It gets really good when you have a bunch of colorless sources. And I mean, I don't have a ton of top end right now. Just a Path Warden Deceiver. Deceiver would like to have other big creatures to reveal off of it, so maybe it's fine to just take some top end here. I think I'm just going to grab that. Now we have a Stoneforge Acolyte, which does not seem useful at all. You need some equipment, and there's really not much in the way of useful equipment in this format in my mind. I know a couple, but it's pretty hard to get anything that's super relevant that you're going to be wanting to, like, Acolyte for. Let's just Vines of Recluse. This is a decent enough trick, and I'm looking like I might play a little bit of green, so I can grab that here. Well, there's a Tranquil Expanse. That's a good reason to be playing a bit of green, too. Helps out with having some wastes mana and having, you know, white and green as well. So if I'm going to be 3 colors, essentially, Tranquil Expanse is looking pretty decent. Alright, another Vines of the Recluse here. Really late Tar Snare. That card's not so bad that it needs to go this late. I mean, actually, it seems quite good. Not amazing, because there's not a ton of things with 2 toughness that matter in this format, but even just as a combat trick, it's quite good. A little bit worried about that. Take the Vines. Lead by Example's not wonderful, but I mean, I'd rather cut green than anything else. And let's just pass a black card to our opponents. Alright, so in BFZ, what are we looking for? Maybe some Snappy Gnarlids, some Fortified Ramparts would be okay. I think I wouldn't mind some of the 3 ones. The Core Castigator, that'd be a good one, just as a little bit of early curve filler. So we have Coastal Discovery that's very good. We have a Ghostly Sentinel that's fine. I mean, I don't have a ton of flyers right now. I mean, core Sky Climbers can fly, but activating them every turn is not possible. When you get too many of them, it gets really hard to activate multiples of them in a turn. Ghostly Sentinel just being, you know, a 3/3 flying vigilance is pretty nice, and I don't have a ton of 5s, so it seems like it could be okay. There is the Invoker, or a Felidar Cub as well. None of those 2-drops are particularly wonderful, though, and I don't want to have a ton of greens, so the Invoker is not super interesting to me. I think that we just take the Ghostly Sentinel. And I think I have enough Wastes-type mana that I don't need Blighted Fen for Deceiver or Displacer yet. Let's just grab this. Shambling Vent. Ooh, that's interesting. We also have Evolving Wilds, which is really quite nice with the Wastes and playing some forests here. I might actually just have to take Evolving Wilds. I wouldn't mind Stonehaven Medic. That'd actually be a pretty decent addition here, but looks like it's going to be Evolving Wilds. Just getting the Wastes mana is really good. That'll give us 4 sources for Deceiver Form, and I think that makes it quite playable for us. I was a little worried when we only had 3, but Evolving Wilds certainly can get us there. Blighted Woodland's not bad. Green Warden of Morass is actually really good too, though. And we have some 2-drops that we were thinking of before. So this is quite interesting. Double green might be tough, but it is also on 6. So that's not the worst. And we do have the Evolving Wilds. It's an interesting choice. So do I want Woodland, Serene Steward, Green Warden, or Core Castigator? I keep saying I want 2-drops and I keep passing them. This might end up biting me in the butt, but I mean there are 2 in this pack. I think there's a decent chance that one of them wheels. So I'm going to take the Green Warden. It's just strong enough if I'm going to be green that I think that I'd want to play it. And I have the Tranquil Expanse, I have the Evolving Wilds, I have Holdout Settlement, and it is a 6-drop. I think that I can afford to play the double green for it. Now we have Stasis Snare, so we've got another good white removal spell. And I've got enough creatures now that I think I can definitely snap that up. Plus it's not another 4-drop one. Oh my god, another Stasis Snare. So we just have all of the white removal. It's kind of ridiculous. Hopefully not too many people are running Felidar Cub's main deck against us, because we have all of our removal is enchantment based, which is a little awkward. No instance. Veteran War Leader looks pretty powerful if we're going to go white-green. I mean, the card's always been pretty strong. I don't know that white-green is the best archetype to be in still, but if I'm going to be there, Veteran War Leader seems like a card that I'll want. We now have Smite the Monstrous or Call the Scions. There's also Ondu Greathorn. I mean, we did just get a Veteran War Leader, so I mean, it doesn't seem terrible to just grab the Call the Scions, because that does pump this a little bit. Having more creatures is better with it, of course. Smite the Monstrous is fine. It is instant speed, so that is a bit of a bump for it. But, I mean, we have 5 removal spells already that kill anything. I think that we're just going to grab the Call the Scions. There's Cliffside Lookout, which helps a little bit with the call. It is an ally. Not that I really have too much that works with that. Really just the Veteran War Leader. There's also Fertile Growth, which can help us with the Wastes mana. In our sideboard, we don't really have too much that I can splash in green or white. Maybe some vines, but that's not really what I want. I think that we just need the Cliffside Lookout. We need a few more creatures, and I don't love it, but I think that I just have to take it. Lithomancer's Focus. There's really nothing else here for us. I'm not going to be playing any off-color cards, and Unnatural Aggression doesn't seem good in our deck at all. We don't have enough fatties to make it worthwhile. We have, like, Path Warden, Pathfinder, Green Warden, and Deceiver of Forms, but that's not nearly enough to play Unnatural Aggression. The card's pretty bad in general anyways. I think that the focus is what we need. Oof. Herald of Kozilek Wield. So no blue-red deck. There's really nothing else for us to take here. I could take, like, Claustria Nightwatch, because that card's probably the best in this pack. Like, if somebody wanted the Warden, they'd have already taken it. Ondu Greathorn is okay. There's another creature. It's outside of the 3-drops, which we have a million of, so maybe it's just better to take that. Plus, it's white, which is our main color. So I think we grab this. We did not wheel any of the 2-drops we wanted. Beastmaster is acceptable as a 6. I don't think I'm going to play it right now with the way things are looking. Although it's kind of cool with, like, Displacer. Sure. I mean, I'm not taking anything else. Natural Connections, fine. I'm not grabbing another card. Skyline Cascade, why not? And there we go. Looks like we have our draft picks anyways. We'll have to see what we do with the deck. So, how am I going to build this here? I feel like this is pretty much going to be it. We might take out, like, Pulse or Focus. I kind of like the Beastmaster. We've got a fair number of allies that trigger it. Scythe Master's an ally. The Veteran War Leader. So we have some good ones to trigger it with. Cliffside Lookout. I'm just so worried that we have nothing to do until turn 3. I should have definitely grabbed, like, Stonehaven Medic or something. At some point I needed to grab 2-drop, and I just never really did. I should have found the time. I always said that I would, never actually had it happen. Not wheeling either the Serene Steward or the Core Castigator was a pretty big problem. Wall of Resurgence helps a little bit as a 3-drop that just stabilizes us a lot, so at least there's that. I kind of like Focus as a cheap combat trick here, so I think I might leave that in. I don't really love Scythe Master, but I want to keep up a fair number of creatures for things like Veteran War Leader. This is a really tough one as to what the last cut is. Like, we've got some filler for sure. Things like Ondu Greathorn's not amazing. Scythe Master's pretty bad. Like, Cliffside Lookout doesn't look great with our deck, but at the same time, I don't really want to cut a lot of creatures. We only have 15. Really, I just want some 2-drops. Our curve looks really awkward. I'd like to cut a 3. I think that it might just be Scythe Master because of that. Either that or the Pulse of Murasa. This gaining us 6 life is pretty good, though, to stall out, and we do. This is a deck that's going to want to go a little bit later. We have a fair bit of top end, and we've got a bunch of removal spells that are quite good. So I think that here we're just going to take out that Scythe Master and keep the Pulse in just to slow things down. I'm going to sort by color, see what Magic tells us. Oh, Moto, what do you think? So you're 10 white sources, kind of 11 with Holdout Settlement, although seems pretty unlikely if we don't have white that we're actually going to get Holdout Settlement working. Gives us 4 green, 5 green with Evolving Wilds. Oh yeah, so it's 11 white sources actually. And then we've got 5 green and 4 colorless. So 4 colorless, 5. I think that we might want to go to 6 and then just have 10 white sources. 10 white sources seems reasonable, and 6 is a lot better for forests. Yeah, I like this a little bit better. We only really need wastes for Deceiver of Form as well. If we don't have them for Pathfinder or Displacer, they're still fine. Obviously much worse, but, like, it's perfectly acceptable to have a 6-mana 5/5 or, you know, a 3-mana 3/3 in our deck. I'm not sad about having either of those. Much happier if I have the wastes, but it's certainly not bad. Alright, well, this looks like what we're grumbling with, so let's submit it and go to round 1. It seems fine. It certainly can use some work, but it's got all the right pieces. We've got all of our colors, and we've got a 3-drop. I can't be too upset with that. We even have something to do a little bit later.